Hello, 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 and welcome to The Light, Lupus, and I, where I am your host, Salathiel Deloach. I would like to welcome you all here tonight. We're going to give a few moments to allow a couple of our viewers to come in into the show. And I would love for you all to just like and share this video as we are about to embark on an amazing show on tonight. Again, I thank you all for joining us here on the Light the Way tour. We are going to light the way on money. Money is something that we absolutely need on a day to day basis. And believe it or not, there are truly some people that don't have money. We talk about that space of robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's a real thing. And some people don't have both a Peter and a Peter to borrow from Paul. Like they just don't have. And so tonight we are going to talk to a financial coach, and she is going to shed some information on money. She's a church girl, y'all. So she's gonna talk about the Lord. She's gonna talk about Jesus. She's gonna talk about the Holy Spirit. So listen, it's going down tonight. I am absolutely excited about our guest for tonight. And so again, I ask that you like and that you share the video, that you all come on into the room, tag a couple of people as you come into the room. Just join in with us on tonight. Understand that if you have any questions that you would like to ask, you're welcome to come to the stage if you like to. All you have to do is just write in the chat that you want to come to the stage. So I'll ask periodically throughout the show as more people join the show. If anybody wants to come to the stage, if anybody has a question, anybody has something that they just want to say. So, I'm going to pause for a moment and I'm going to pull up my own social media and just call out and invite some people to join us on tonight for our live. But while I'm doing that, I am going to give our guests an opportunity to come to the stage. So without further ado, yes, that's a church girl statement. Without further ado, I am going to bring Mrs. Shana Ellington to the stage. So let's clap it up for Mrs. Shana Ellington. Let's put some hearts and some emojis, some claps, some fire, if you will. Let's go ahead and put some of that inside the chat. So, Mrs. Shana, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing wonderful. What I would love for you to do is first and foremost, I would love for you to introduce yourself, your business. Tell us a little bit about your organization or your business.
So my name is Shana Ellington. My business is S&E First Financial. I basically operate as a nonprofit where I go around and I teach financial literacy. Sometimes you may see me at school. I work with nonprofit organizations as well. I will go into the low income based communities and I advocate for our people and I just teach them the basics, and then we have different levels that we go with. But I'm just on a mission to teach financial literacy. That's all. I'm here to uplift, to empower, to reach out and just grow with my people. I'm here to bring them new information. I'm here to bring them knowledge. I work as a tax accountant, so I'm just here to empower, grow, and that's what S&E First Financial is about.
Awesome. And so, listen, I heard you tell us what the business is about, but tell us, who is Shana? Who are you?
Ooh, child. She's a lot.
Come on, tell the people.
But she's a phenomenal woman who loves God, first of all. I operate as an empty vessel. I go where God sends me and I go where his children needs me. I am a mother. I am a friend. Most importantly, I am a woman first. So, I've done a lot of things to help our women in entrepreneurship, to advocate for us. I'm just an empty vessel who's doing the Lord's work, going around empowering people. I think that tells it a lot.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So tell us a little bit about how did S&E financials come into how did it come into play?
So S&A First Financial came into play years ago, since I was 18 years old, actually. I've fell in love with personal finance. I was in a position where I was a teenage mom, and life didn't basically give me the best end of the
Mm,
stick. So what I did was I taught myself about money. I taught myself about investing. I taught myself about credit. I just went into a spiral of financial literacy. Anything that I could have done to elevate myself, I did so. And then it came to a point where I started to look around, and I'm looking at my friends, I'm looking at my environment, and I'm seeing that they don't know this information. So I would just go around, starting with my friends. I'd be like, hey, let me teach you how to budget. Let me teach you how to build your credit. It goes from that to me building a business and helping multiple people in different states.
what would you say is your greatest passion as it relates to the work that you do? Like what area?
Um, my greatest passion is actually seeing, first when we look back into our community, we don't have a lot of knowledge based on these things because they're not taught into the system.
Hmm.
And the information is needed, and there are people that are hungry for it. They just don't know where to go find it or what to do, even if they have it. But what I love the most about it is giving that information and seeing those who take that information and elevate their life throughout the
Right.
period of time. Because if I teach this information to a single mom, not only am I blessing her with knowledge, but I'm blessing her children with knowledge, her children's children with knowledge, because it continues the generation. And that's what makes me happy, seeing that I get to put a breakage in that generation,
Hmm.
as we like to call it, and put in more generational wealth with just knowledge base itself.
Absolutely. And you talked about budgeting. What is some information surrounding the word budgeting, the act of budgeting that you would like to share with our audience?
Let me put it this way, right?
Yes.
Because a lot of people have this thing about budgeting, and they do not like budgeting. They feel like budgeting is like a diet. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to stick with it. It's too much. It's what if I don't even have the money? How am I gonna? But you always have the money, and there's ways to make the money. But the
Yeah.
thing with budgeting, it shows you where your money is going, and you have the opportunity to come in and tell your money where to go.
Yeah.
So if we're just used to the system of swiping, 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 of course we're gonna be like, where did my money go? Which is a question most of us ask.
Yeah.
I can't tell you where my money go. I know I got paid and I paid my bills, but I thought I had 200 left over and I don't know where it went. But that's what budgeting does. Budgeting does. It tells you where your money is going, so you know where to put aside money, you know where to invest money, and you know what fundings you need to have in case an emergency comes up. It gives you the opportunity to give yourself some relief. That's what budgeting does.
Yeah. Yeah. I think of it from the space of, real talk. We like to be in control. But so often we are out of control when it comes to our money. Like you
Yes.
said, so often we just swipe and swipe and swipe some more. And then you really don't realize that you actually don't have any control over your finances. I can
Yes.
speak personally, within work, I worked in the mall. And so going and purchasing lunch,
Mhm.
I didn't think twice about it. I would literally walk into the food court every time I worked. My lunch break, it was in the food court. And I was going to the food court to eat. I wasn't going to eat anything that I purchased that I brought from home. I was
Yeah.
going in the food court to buy something. And I had that same moment, like I know I should have had XYZ left, I just got paid. I paid all my bills that I had, but I didn't have any extra money. And so I pulled up my bank statement
Oh
and I
yeah.
saw that
Oh
real
yeah.
moment, right? That real moment. I pulled up, my bank statement and I'm going through my bank statement and I'm like proud of myself. Yeah, I paid my bills, she doing that. And then I started highlighting in a different color, you know, these out to eat things, not even purchases of other stuff, grocery and all of the things, just the food. Let me see what this food look like. And I'm coming up with hundreds of dollars in just food and realizing that in 1 week, I've spent easily 50, $60 on just food because when she eats, she ain't eating the plate.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Really.
eat what I want to eat. And
Yeah.
so, we're eating. And you have no idea the amount of money that you spend just because you spend it. So it's so easy for you to
So
spend.
easy to swipe.
Yeah.
Listen, I know your bank account hates seeing you come. And they
Listen, that
always gonna have receipts on you,
oh
baby.
yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. That day changed my entire life as it relates to food. I now thoroughly enjoy eating in.
Like what your mama used to tell you, we got food at the house.
That's right. Absolutely.
They
We got
knew
food
where the
at the
money
house.
was. They had a budget back then. I promise you. It may not have been as technical as ours, but they had their little books where they were writing down
Yeah.
things. They
Yeah.
were keeping track. They had their checkbook. They was writing down
Not the
everything.
checkbook.
They was taking track of everything. That's how they know you have food at the house. I'm not
Yeah.
spending this money because
Yeah.
bills are coming up. I have to pay for things for you. So there's food at the house. If it's noodles, it's noodles, and you're gonna eat that, and you're gonna be perfectly fine tomorrow.
Yeah.
But one thing, one thing that does for us now is because we're a product of you got food at the house.
Yeah.
Now we're like, I don't have to eat the food at the house anymore.
Hmm.
So now we're trying to shift and say, listen, I'm an adult now and I can spend my money as much as I want to, how I want to.
Yeah.
And that's where the rebellion comes from.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that's what creates the habit is saying like, listen, I make money. I can spend this. And then let's not get into the credit card of, oh, I
Yeah.
can spend this, but I'll pay it back. And you never pay it
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
But they make it so easy to swipe because if you carry around cash, you're gonna keep counting the cash. You're gonna be
Yeah.
like, I got
That's
a hundred.
true.
I don't know if I can. You break this 20 so I can get a couple one. So you could keep even, but because it's a plastic card, it's
Yeah.
so easy to swipe and swipe and swipe until it says decline,
Yeah.
and that's when it hits you like, oh, I don't have any money left. But every person that says I had a shift once I look at my statements is true
Yeah.
because you will go look in your statements and you're going to be like, I know I did not spend $35 on one meal.
Yeah.
And then when you see how much it adds up at the end of the month, you're like, I spent $500 on food. I don't even remember what the food tastes like. The
Yeah.
food was
That's
out
even worse when
after
it's
3
nasty.
hours and the $500 is gone. So then now you're looking at it like, okay, I need to keep track of what I'm eating. I need to give myself a lunch budget. You can give
Right.
yourself lunch money. You
Yeah.
say, okay, this week my lunch money is $80, and you don't spend no more than that $80. That's budgeting. You're telling yourself where your money's going. I'm not telling you to deprive yourself of anything. What I'm telling you is to track your money and tell your money where it's going so you're not
Yeah.
putting yourself in debt or
Absolutely.
overspending or having to pay that late payment fee because you didn't spend all your money. Now you can't pay your credit card fee or having to go in overdraft and paying that $40 fee. So now
Oh,
feeling
the
you're
overdraft.
feeling it just because of that one decision you make not to create yourself a budget.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Very true. So when we talk about budget, what are some things that you feel are mandatory to be a part of someone's budget?
Well, your living expenses, of course. So
Hmm.
you have your expenses such as your rent, your light, your water. Some people have cables. those are your fixed expenses. They
There
stay
you
right
go.
there. Every month you're going to pay these things, right? For me, I add my hair in my fixed expenses.
Hey,
I need my hair done.
listen.
It's not, if you have
Tell the truth.
expensive and variable expenses, my hair is not variable. It's not a other. It needs to be done. I need my hair
Mm-hmm,
done.
mm-hmm.
So I know I need to have that money over there, and that money needs to be there I have lots, so every month that money needs to be there. Then you have your variable expenses where it's like, this month I might do my toes, but then they do such a good job that I might just go without getting my toes done next month.
Right.
Or you'd be like, I want to go to a concert with my friend. I'm going to put this money right here just for my entertainment. I'm going to go out and eat. There's a birthday coming up this month. I
Mm-hmm.
need to budget in that birthday. Special holidays, you budget in special holidays. But you
Ooh,
keep you a miscellaneous budget, or you add a miscellaneous to your budget to say this is that money that I'm going to spend when I feel like I just want to go out and eat. I just want to go out
yeah.
and hang with my friend. Because like I'm telling you, I'm not depriving you of anything. I'm just
Mm-mm.
telling you to tell your money where it goes. You have your
Yeah.
fixed expenses that is coming out of your bank account every month, and you have your variables where it's like it's a maybe I might do this, it's a maybe I might not do it. Our nails, us as women, we like to get our nails done.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much your nail costs you, but does it really have to cost $180, or can you do $50 and get a simple French tip this month?
Yeah.
Those are the things that you play with your variable expenses, but your fixed expenses stay the same.
Do you think that it is better to write down your budget, or do you encourage your clientele to maybe use a technical system?
For me, I have my budget in notes.
Okay.
I carry my budget with me everywhere I go.
I'm checking on you right now.
I carry my budget with me everywhere I go, just in case I
Yeah.
might need to add something.
Yeah.
My friend might say, Shauna, I'm having a dinner next month and I want you to come. And because I love my friend, I'm going to show up. But I'm going to put that as a little note in my budget, like, my friend Abby is having dinner next month. We need to put aside $30 for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'll go in my budget for each month and then I'll add that. Like, I
Mm.
carry my budget wherever I go. Now, if you're old school, you can write it down. You can.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that you want. We have iPhones, we have Samsungs. It's something that you want to have with you as a reminder as well. Like, okay, because Note is so flexible, I put
Mm-hmm.
check marks next to the bills that I've paid so I keep track of what I've spent this month.
Yeah.
That's something that you can do as well. You could tailor your budget to you. Just make sure you're telling your money where you need it to go, and make sure that you have money saved and money to put away if you invest, which you should. But
Yeah.
make sure that the whole point of a budget is so you're not living paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
Because
Right.
there are some people, I would say 75% of people can control that by just budgeting and seeing
Mm.
where their money's going and what they're spending on, and being able to say, okay, I'm going to put this aside so that way I'm not spending all my money and then I have to wait till my next check comes to spend that money again.
Yeah. 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 So how would you give me something that you would use to encourage a client real time as it relates? I'm sticking in the budget zone. Give me some of those tools or some of those things that you would use to coach your clientele on budgeting.
So for me, whenever I have a client that tells me that they want to budget, I always have an initial sit down. I start your and I create your first budget. But if not, it's very simple to do in your notes. You just put your fixed expenses, your variable expenses, the expenses you have to spend every month, and expenses that you choose to spend, right?
Hmm.
But as far as coaching them, it takes 30 days to break a habit.
Yeah,
Some people
absolutely.
have been spending like this for 15 years, 10 years,
Hmm.
20 years. I understand that you're not just going to come in and get a budget corrected in 1 month. I'm
Right.
realistic,
Yeah.
right? But if you're at the point where this is something that you really want to do, I'm going to tell you to start walking around with cash. I'm going to tell you, keep your money in your bank account. Because once you get your budget down, now you know how much your bills cost. Now
Yeah,
you know how much money you need to pay your bills, and now you know how much money needs to be in your account because we have an
exactly.
idea of our financial plan right now.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you the money that you said that you're going to use as miscellaneous, that you're going to use as variable expenses for your nails or toes. Put that in your wallet so you're not
Okay.
using your bank account. You're not swiping and using that money that you set aside for your saving. You're not going into your savings account and transferring to your checking because you don't spend that money. Carry it around in cash for the next 30 days just so you have an idea of what it feels like not to have that card in your hand and keep swiping it.
Yeah.
Because you've been doing this for so long that it's going to keep being a habit. It's going to be hard for you to say, okay, I have $200 left over from paying my bills and I really want to save this. It's going to be hard for you to say,
Yeah.
I'm going to save it. No, you're not. You're not. It's a habit. You're going to swipe again. You're going to be like, okay, one time won't hurt. I'm going to start next month.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to make it back again and I'm going to put it back again. But if you have that, if you take that money out that you're only supposed to spend and you keep it in cash, it doesn't give you the chance to go back to your bank account
That's true.
because you already have the money accessible. And then with cash, because it's in your hand, you're touching it, you're feeling it, you have to open your wallet and take it out. You know, you're aware of what you're doing. You're not going to want to spend the money.
I'm gonna be transparent in this moment. You are schooling me, right? I am taking in all of the coaching in this moment because I am one of those girls, one of those ladies. I don't personally carry cash.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not big on it at all, but I am mentally conscious and mentally aware or present about the money that I do spend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a really I just don't like to carry cash.
Yeah.
It's just it's always been a thing for me. But for me, I am that one that loves sticky notes, right? And
Yes.
so my debit card has a sticky on it. And it's
Ah.
like, do you need that?
Like a reminder. Do you
Listen,
really need
my
that?
debit card is out here talking to me. Do you need that or do you want that? Do you need that or do you want that? He'll supply all of my need. You know, he'll supply all of your needs. So is that a need or is that something that you want?
That you
He'll
want.
give you some of the things that you
Yes.
want. He'll give you some extra money, but is that is
Is
that it though? Is that it? And so when I pull out my debit card, it says literally, do you need that?
it?
And if the answer is a question mark in my head, like, do I need that? Put that card back.
Then you put it back. Yes.
But
Yes.
if
Then
it's like, listen, she
you
don't
bring it
have
back.
no food in the refrigerator. Yes, she needs that. So
Yes.
yeah, I believe in that space of having, control. Like you
Yes.
said at the top of the show, I believe in having control on what my money is going to or what it is going to do. Like you talked about that space of supporting friends. You know, is this a month? Because if they tell you last minute, like you fit in wherever the budget
Is
say you
it in
fit
my
in.
budget?
If you
I
don't
am that
fit
person.
in, then you just don't fit in. But if you tell me in advance, I can figure out how to make your thing fit in, even
Right.
if it's that moment of I'm saving to myself or
Yes.
I'm saving towards your event. Yeah, this money, it goes to that.
Hmm.
I tell my money where it
Where it
goes.
goes. Yes.
I don't allow my money to
Well,
have wings and kind of fly wherever it wants to go. And I know a lot of times that, people don't have that awareness, that we talk about the space of, what we speak. It's important. The thoughts that we think, they are important as well. And where we spend our money,
yes.
just being frugal with our money, it is so, so important. And that kind of segues me into, a personal space. Excuse me.
You're
It
fine.
segues me into a personal space of how I got to the space of needing to tell my money where it has to go and why I think the work that you do is so, so important. I've been diagnosed with lupus And there was a point in time where there was no money that was coming in. And I reached out for financial assistance and those type of things, and I could not get that assistance. And I was very grateful that I lived with my parents at that time, but I have the awareness of what could have been if I
Yeah,
was not living with my parents. And I that space of, it doesn't really matter how much you save. If you are sick, there is no amount of money that can save your life,
that's true. That's
you know?
absolutely true.
And so tell me some of the tools or things that you would provide for someone that has received a diagnosis and they have to, if you will, live on a budget. What's the reality there? Because I have my home that I must maintain, so all of the necessities that you spoke about. But instead of me having those things that I want to do, because I don't want to pay no medical bills. That's not something I want to do. But
It's like,
our reality is something that we need to do. So that extra money for our wants, they
it's,
just don't fit in that box. So what are some of what suggestions or what are your thoughts around that? I'll just leave it open like that. What are your thoughts around that?
for me, I definitely understand that. How to put this? The healthcare system in America is not
Healthcare
is
system.
is is not as friendly as it should be,
Mm-hmm.
and medical bills can stack up. Um, there were a time where it has gotten to the point where medical bills stacked up so much that if you didn't pay it, it would affect your credit.
Mm-hmm.
But now they have come into laws that says it
Grateful.
can't happen anymore, right?
Grateful.
Grateful. But as far as paying for medicals, that's still a thing. And those bills could come up to $1,000, $5,000. Those bills can be very high. And then you have to come out and then you still have to pay for your prescription. So I understand where it's like, I would like to budget. I would like to have these things done. But at the end of the day, my money is going to medical expenses.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the first question I would ask you is, do you currently have a job? If
Yes.
you currently have a job, then you could use your HSA account or you could use an FSA account. And
So
your health,
I'm going to pause you.
yes, go
Tell
ahead.
them what those accounts are.
So your HSA account is your health savings account, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's money where pre-tax dollars go into that you could use to help pay for your medical expenses.
Right.
Now, this is for a high deductible health insurance account. So basically, if your deductible is high, your job will start you off by giving you $500. Some even give you 1,000. Some give you
Mm-hmm.
1,500. It just depends on who you work with, and they'll give you that money to say, "Hey, use this right here to help pay for your medical expenses while you reach your deductible." And your FSA is your flexible spending. Your
Mm-hmm.
flexible spending account
Yeah.
where you put that money into it. And the only thing about a flexible savings account is that the money you have to use it in that year.
Mm-hmm.
Your HSA goes with you for a long period of time. So in a sense, you could do a planning. If you have gotten something that I'm gonna be in these doctors' office all year.
Mm-hmm.
I know that because it has been something that has happened last year. Every new year, your job gives you a certain amount of money. You can add to it and it's not taxed. You could plan and say, okay, for my health savings account, I know that my deductible is $1,500, or some deductibles are $3,000. Unless I meet that, they're not gonna pay for everything,
Right.
right? So you can say, okay, they're giving me 500, they're giving me 1,000, they've given me 1,500. This year wasn't so bad. I didn't need to use it as much. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna contribute $100 to it, $100, because I don't know what next year's gonna be like. As
Right.
long as you keep contributing to that account, the money will be there. It's
Mm-hmm.
yours to use. It's not going anywhere, right? So you could
So
do some.
almost like a savings.
It's a savings account,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not taxed. So
Right.
whether you spend it, whether you put it in there, or whether you leave it in there, it's not taxed.
Right.
So you could do a planning with that where you're like, okay, I know that my doctor said I'm gonna probably have a procedure coming up in next 2 years. You could put money in that, and then it lessens the amount of money you get taxed on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you're making $50,000 a year and you have an extra $200 that you know is just money that you normally use to eat after you've done your budget, say I'm going to put that $200 and contribute it to my HSA account, and then it limits the amount of money that you have to pay taxes on. So it's a double win for you.
Yes.
But you
Yes.
can use that to your tax advantage as well. And then another thing that it does is when you get your tax returns and your income, it lessens the amount of money that you actually get taxed on.
Mm-hmm.
So there are other things out there that could help you depending on how much you make per year, and you could say, "Hey, this is how much I brought in. I'm within that line," and you could use your tax returns to show them that.
Absolutely.
Um, but most jobs offer HSA account and they'll fund the account for you. Every year they'll give you $500, $1,000. You can add to it and you can use it as some sort of a plan to help pay for your medical expenses. There are organizations out there that are able to help you financially, but
Mm-hmm.
because they're so backed up and a lot of people know about them, it can be harder for you to even get your name on the list.
Absolutely.
If you're low income, we know the government has Medicaid that you can use to help pay for your expenses. But the reality of it is healthcare is expensive.
Yeah.
It's if you call an ambulance right now, if you don't have insurance, it's $5,000.
Five what?
$5,000.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
$5,000.
Yeah.
And that's not including how much they charged you in the
Yeah.
emergency.
Yeah.
So it's expensive and it's something that we cannot change. And when you have a situation, a position that you cannot change, then you have to sit down and say, how can I tailor this to me? What
Mm-hmm.
can I do? What do I have control over? What can I use to my benefit? Because there is no right way or any advice to give because the amount of money is a lot. That's a
Yeah.
down payment on a house that you pay annually for your health. So it's nothing that could really be said to say, oh, this is how you lessen this. This is
Mm-hmm.
how you don't have to pay this. It's
Right.
big, the healthcare system in America, but there are different tax advantages. There are organizations that's out there to help you, and there are things that you could do with your finances, such as financial planning, that could help you say at least it helps you pay for certain things.
Right.
And I would say your HSA is one and your FSA is another one. And if you have a job, they most likely offer it.
Absolutely. And another thing too that I encourage, again, talking, patient to patient a lot of
Yes,
times, I love to encourage people to start their own something, you know.
I love that. I love
A lot of times, you know, some of the warriors, they are not employed. And so that space of using our hands, it
that.
becomes something that we do a lot of times literally unaware. And we don't realize the value, or better yet, because I am who I am, the gifts that we possess inside of our hands. We are given talents a lot of times, and we use the talents, but we don't use the talents, if you will, in the marketplace. We
Yeah.
don't feel like our little gift or
Hmm.
that little thing that we do, we don't feel like it is of any value because it's just something that I do. All of those words are things that we hear from sometimes the people that are around us. Oh, that's just that little thing that you're doing on the side, or you
Yeah.
just you
Yeah.
just bringing in a little bit of money. Well, a little bit of money is more than no money. And so let's talk about the space of, how can we use our gifts in the marketplace.
I like to say that when God placed us on this beautiful earth, He gave
Mm-hmm.
and every one of us a gift, and the gift that he gave us was actually used for us, was for us to use to provide for us on this earth,
Mm-hmm.
because we all have gifts, right?
Yeah.
It's just that some people don't tap into it, or they do, like you said, they do use it, but because of fear or lack of knowledge, they think like, oh, it's a little thing. No, it's a
Mm-hmm.
big thing. If you
Yeah.
look at all of these organizations and corporations around you, they were started just with a human being, just like you,
Yeah.
me, and you. And
Yeah.
I like to say, if they can do it, I can do it too, because
Yeah.
you got the same blood running through your body, and I got it too. So
Exactly.
there's
Exactly.
something that you can't do that I can't do. And I like to encourage people to be entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'm like an entrepreneur advocate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If you use your gift, there's somebody out there
That
that
part.
needs what you're thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's somebody out there that's going through the same thing that you're going through, and you were sent as an answer, but because you refuse to answer your calling, you have people waiting out there on you.
Yeah. 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 And I 100% agree and believe that very statement. We were given gifts,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times we have those gifts, we use those gifts, we just don't understand how to transfer those gifts, you know
Yeah.
and or like you said, we're afraid to transfer those gifts. You and I both sit here on this podcast, this recording, and we're both introverts, right?
Yes.
We are both introverts, but we recognize, and we understand that being an introvert cannot hold us from our destiny. You know, again, I tell the warriors that I work with, just because you were diagnosed doesn't mean that you have to give up on your destiny. Your diagnosis does not determine what your destiny is. It's just a diagnosis, and so you have to step out, regardless of what it is that you are dealing with, whether it's health or something else, whatever it is that you are dealing with, realize, or I guess come to realize, if you will,
Mhm.
because like you said, a lot of times we're doing the things. We're
We are.
already doing the things, but
Yeah.
we just don't know how to transfer it. So, what would be some advice on how to transfer those gifts?
I would say when it comes to transferring gifts, especially putting yourself out there, it comes with your surrounding.
Mm.
You tend to realize that when
Woo.
you're around people who believe in you, people who
Yes.
understand that you have a gift. I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you something. I knew I had a gift,
Mm-hmm.
but my gift was nurtured by my pastor and my apostle.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like slowly but
Girl,
surely,
you better preach.
he would just bring me out there. And it's like every time she'll be like, Shana, I want you to talk about this.
Mm.
Shana, I want you to do Shana. And I used to be like, why?
Yeah.
Like, like you want me to stand up there and you want me to talk to people?
Yeah. Yeah.
You want me to go ask somebody something? Like, no. You called me from the background was comfortable. And now you put me right here.
Stop playing.
Ma'am. Ma'am. No,
Yeah.
ma'am. No, ma'am.
Yeah.
And then it cultivated me.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when I understood what my gift was,
Yeah. Yeah.
by someone seeing it in me and knowing that if I don't call her out, and because I respect authority, I
Yeah.
respect my pastor, I respect my apostle, I'm not gonna say no.
Right.
But it was later on that I realized this was just God training me.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
training me to use my gift, but he knew how to work with me. He knew exactly how to call me out. He
Mm-hmm.
knew how to tell me this is what you need to do, and he knew
Yeah.
who I would listen to.
Yeah.
But even so, when I was placed into the church that I was in, I didn't plan on going to that church.
Wow.
My pastor called me when I moved down here from Florida. She called me. She was like, I would like for you to come to my church. And I was like, how did you know I'm here? How did you know I am here? But
Ooh,
I
shoot.
went. I went to church because I felt like if you're called to go to church, you need to sit down in church because the Lord has something to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I went to church and I listened, and then I fell under her leadership.
Mm.
But being around her is how you got this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Her calling me, telling me, and asking me to do things using my gift is how you got this version of me. She
Yeah.
was the first person to call me out publicly and be like, I don't want you to teach money matters. And I'm like, I'm used to talking to my friends. I'm used to
Right.
because I'm comfortable with them. And
Exactly.
some will take the advice and some wouldn't. But hey, I'm comfortable with my friends. And ever since she's done that, you will see me having different workshops, having going speaking on podcasts and going to different states and working with people
Yeah.
because I was nurtured.
Absolutely.
Someone saw that in me. They knew it was there, but they knew she's comfortable where she's at because I'm not even gonna lie, I did not believe in myself.
Mm.
I knew I had the knowledge
Yeah.
because it worked. I knew I had the knowledge because when I whisper it to somebody, they go ahead and they do
They
it.
act.
It
Mm-hmm.
worked,
Yeah.
right?
You realize that power that you had that you didn't know you
Exactly.
had. Yeah. Yeah.
I knew when I speak, it moved whomever I was talking to.
Yeah.
But it was just the fact that I wasn't confident. I always felt like imposter syndrome. Like,
Oh.
like I can
Oh.
do it. I know I can do it, but did I
Woo.
do it?
Woo.
I cannot. And it's
Woo.
like and it's crazy how it works because you know you can do it,
Yeah.
but then it comes
No
in your head.
question.
You know you can't do that. You know
Yeah.
you ain't all
Woo.
that. Look at them.
Speak.
They're laughing at you.
Speak.
They don't
Speak.
they don't not even listen to what you say. Girl, sit down. Like, who do you think you are?
That one right there.
But you know you have the gift. It's just that fear. But when I surrounded myself with people who saw the gift,
Mm-hmm.
it's like they all wanted to help me.
Yeah.
It's based on surrounding and network.
It's so
One
true.
person hear it, they say, "Girl, you good. I know this person. Let me help you. If you know how to design it, if you even know how to build something, if you have a skill or a trade,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes all it takes is someone to believe in you. Put
Yeah.
yourself around that person
Yeah.
and ask God, God, help me find the people that you have placed in my life to encourage me.
Send
Why do
me
you
my
think
people.
God created the Bible? What do you think a testimony is?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
He showed you people in the Bible that when you read it, you can relate to it.
Yeah.
And then he showed you how he helped them out of that situation to show you that you yourself can get out of it too.
Yeah. It's possible.
It's possible. But he referenced those people because he know that we will still be dealing with the same thing in our
Mm-hmm.
time. So he gave us a guidance.
Exactly.
There's somebody on this earth that was meant to be your guidance.
Yeah.
You could find that in a church. You could find that in a friend. Put yourself around the right people because if you keep surrounding yourself around people who keeps laughing at your dreams,
Mm.
that, that's not going to get you anywhere because you can only
No.
go how far they go.
Yeah.
And obviously, they're not that far if they don't even believe in a dream.
All right. Mm.
People, network. You never
Whew.
know who people know.
So much to unpack there.
Look at how we met.
Listen, I was just about to go there. I was just about to go there. Like, who would have thought? Like, literally, I did not know your story was the space of your pastor, your apostle, is the one who, for lack of better wording, helped groom you. I had no clue. I am the same way. You
Yes.
know, I grew up around my pastor, my apostle, all my life. Literally, I grew up around her. But there became a space and a time that our lives became, if you will, almost one. And I was with her all the time. And
Yes.
she would groom, for lack of better wording, she would groom not so much me into the space of what I should be doing. She
Mm-hmm.
began to groom the broken spaces within me. And she helped me to realize my worth.
Yes.
not the space for me to see it for other people, for me to see it within myself. You
To
talked
let you
about it, right? You
see.
talked about
Yes.
it. We have these things that we can do, that we even dream of doing, but we don't do them because there's a space that's within
Mhm.
us that tells us we can't do it.
But and that's
I'm
the
not
enemy stopping
qualified.
you from
Yeah,
purpose.
yeah, yeah. He
The voice in
knows.
your head. That's the enemy stopping you from purpose because he can. You're the
He
only
knows.
person
Yeah,
that
yeah,
can stop it.
yeah. And she helped me to realize that it wasn't, though I was going through things in my body, that broken
Mhm.
space, though I was going through those things in my body, or even the things that were happening in my life, regardless of those things, that wasn't what the enemy was after. People a lot of times think that, the enemy is after your body, he is after your marriage, he's after all your job, all of the things. He's after
He's-
that. But it starts in your mind.
It starts.
And
Yes.
if he could get your mind,
Mm-hmm.
your marriage is gone.
It's got yes, because he
Your
put those
your
right words in there. Yeah.
all of those things, your health is gone, because you're going to begin to speak the things that he's telling you. The connection is going to take place. What you're thinking is going to become what you're speaking.
Yes.
And when you begin to speak those things into existence, they're going to manifest.
They are because
And she
like
began to not tell me what to do. She began to encourage me to watch the model. And
mm,
she was the model. A lot of the things that I dealt with, she'd already gone through. And so she let me see, like, put the blinders on the things that are off to the side and pay attention to the model. The model has done this. So if the model has achieved this, then you can achieve this. Just
yeah,
like you were talking about those people that are in the scripture. God put them in the scripture. The things that she went through, they are right there in the scripture. So if she's gone through those things and that person in the Bible has gone through those things, certainly you can go through those things. And I
yeah.
begin to have a mental transformation. I
Mhm.
begin to grow mentally. And now, where I was once thinking that I couldn't do a thing, I begin to think, I could do that thing.
Yeah. Why can't
And,
I?
oh, girl, you better stop.
Why can't I?
You better stop.
When
Like,
people be like, "You can't," why not?
ooh,
You that I couldn't. You haven't even seen me try it yet. So
right,
how can you tell
right.
me that I can't?
Right. But
Dare me.
remember now, it wasn't the people. It wasn't the people saying you couldn't. You were
Mhm.
saying you couldn't. You were telling you couldn't. You weren't, you were doing it. And so when you doing it, it's a lot more powerful than when other
And
people
other
start
people,
doing it.
yes.
You
But I
know?
want to show you the power of words
Yeah.
because, and I would like to say this, based on how you speak to yourself, it comes from how you were also brought up.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't grow up hearing a lot of positive things, seeing a lot of I can do it so you can do it too, it's like in your mind you automatically think, and that's the story of a lot. I didn't see anybody do it. My mama didn't do it. My mom didn't tell me I can do it. And I hear a lot of people, because I like to say we're all children in adult bodies. We all
Mm.
thing. And some people can sit down and tell you and say, when I was 10, my mom told me I wasn't going to be nothing in life.
Mm.
That's why I believed I wasn't going to be nothing in life because it came from such an important person in their life that their voice has now become yours. And then
Mm.
you keep it in the back of your head and then you keep saying, I'm not going to be nothing in life because my mama told me that. And if my
Wow.
mama told me that, it must be true because she's my mom and she told me that
Yeah.
she loved me. So
Yeah.
why would somebody that loves me tell me I'm not going to be nothing in life?
Yeah. Yeah. For me, my story was I had all of the overachievers around me.
Mm. So you
And I
felt like
had all of the
you couldn't
overachievers
match up.
around me. Well, not even the space of not matching up. I've dealt with health majority of
Mhm.
my life. So I literally could not do it.
Yeah,
It,
that's
it was not my story. It was not my portion. But I grew up with all of the overachievers around me. So I watched all of these people achieve all of the things that they wanted to. And my question became like, why can't I do all that? Like, what's wrong with me? You
Wow.
know, that was my reality, seeing all of these people just be great. And they weren't great. Well, of course they practiced, but they weren't great so much because they practiced. They just had a God given ability, a God given talent that came unrepentantly.
And it was
And they
no.
would just, they did the things without even thinking about doing the things. It just happened. And I'm like, wait, what happened? I don't have that. I don't have that, but that wasn't, those things weren't my portion. And the
Mm-hmm.
things that I went through helped me become the version that I am. And the work that I do is with my hands.
Mm-hmm.
And the ideas that the Holy Spirit gives to me, like people are like, where did that even come from? But it wasn't until I had that teaching, that nurturing, that those seasons of growth
Yeah.
where the ideas weren't so crazy. And she would, like you say, support, and she would encourage, and she would push. And not that you better do push. It was that, you did that yet? How is that coming along?
That's
You want
me.
to you want to share, give me an update on blah blah blah. And it's like, I ain't got no update. What you mean you don't have an update?
I just did
What do you
it.
mean? Come on now, come on, you got this. It was more of that, and those constant prayers, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
those spaces, like you said, having those people around you that nurture the gift. And she wasn't the only one, but she was the dominant one.
Yes.
She
And
was the dominant one.
thank you.
And after, I began to, I love to say, at once I began to see me the way the Lord sees me.
Oh, yes. Do you know, for me, like, we both have different stories, but that's the beauty of it, is that because we both have different stories, we can relate to different people.
Yeah,
And we can
yeah,
show them that God works in different ways.
yeah.
You can't put him in a box.
He don't
For
belong. He
me,
don't fit.
it won't fit. My story was, I was told growing up that, you can't do this. I had my daughter, I was a teenage mom, so, and well, preteen teenage mom, I would say, but
Hmm.
I had my daughter at the age of 13.
Yeah,
Because I had my daughter at the age of 13, a lot of people wrote me off. They
yeah.
were like, you can't do this.
I can imagine.
What you gonna do with that? Like, and then when I used to get mocked because it was like as soon as I had a daughter so young, it was just like, girl, you don't have no dreams. It's like when people bringing kids into this world as a woman, it's like you don't have nothing but your mom. Like you don't
Yeah,
have dreams. What you gonna do with them kids while you go to college, or what you gonna do with the kid? Like they mock you in a sense to let you know that where you at is where you're gonna be at.
mm,
And for me, it didn't sit right. It didn't
that's
sit right
right.
with me.
That's right.
I always had this thing about me. If you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna prove to you that
Come
you're.
on. Come on.
I'm gonna
Please.
prove to you that you're not God, and you
Yeah,
can't tell me what
yeah,
and what I shouldn't be doing because
yeah,
I know what he told me to do.
yeah,
And
yeah.
if he's the God that I serve and he's telling me that I'm validated, who are you to tell me that I'm not?
Listen, you better speak.
Because
You
if he
better
already
speak.
told me I have authority, who are you to
Mm,
tell me that I don't?
right, right. If he
And
already told me I can, who
who
are
are
you
you
to
to
tell
tell me?
me I
It's
can't?
already written. So if he told me I can, it means it was done already. He was
Done,
telling me to go do it
done.
in my time because in his time it's already written.
Yeah,
So who are you to come try to stop me?
yeah, yeah. He
Don't
has
let the enemy
plans.
use you.
Listen, he has plans for me. He had them long before I was in the womb. He got plans for me, and
So
there
who are
is,
you that is not possible if he already got it? Like who are you? When people tell me I can't do certain things, like for example, SNE First Financial, I was told that I couldn't do it. I
yeah,
was told they were like, no, this was literally the comment. The comments that I used to get was, because I'm trying to teach financial literacy, and because there are already people on social media who are teaching somewhat of a
Mm-hmm.
financial literacy, but they're on there showing you the luxury life that they're living. So that way you could see it as like, if I do it, I'm going to be luxurious.
Right.
I'm going to have
Right.
luxury. I'm going to be rich. And while I'm out here teaching, I'm just like, listen, baby, let's start from basic 101. How
Mm-hmm.
can we get to the point where we build wealth? How can we do this to grow over time? And depending on the people that I work with and the clientele that I work with, I just want the knowledge in you.
That's it.
But
Plant the
because of
seed.
that, they were like, well, you're not running around in BMWs and you're not showing money and you're not doing this. So if you're trying to tell me about money and how to build wealth and you're not showing it, why should I believe you?
Mm-hmm. A
And
lot of
I can
people.
still just sit there and be like, why do I have to show you money for you to want better for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. And your desire is different from mine. Like I don't want money for those things. That might be your desire or your request, but that's
Exactly.
not why I might just want money for mental peace. To know that if a thing arises, I have the money to take care of it.
Everyone has their own rich life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody has their own definition of success.
Yeah.
But because we have been brainwashed to use materialistic things as a way to show how much money we have and how successful we are, you have people going in debt trying to look good for the next.
Exactly.
I'm just gonna talk
Exactly.
about them.
And
Just
and that's
things.
that's a moment I'm trying to teach you how to build wealth. And if I'm trying to teach you how to build wealth, that word means that there is something you need to learn. And if I'm showing you all the cars and all of the things, and I'm encouraging you to go and get those things,
I'm not
you
teaching you.
don't know you don't know how to manage that money yet.
You don't, because if that's where your headspace is at, you're gonna end up right in debt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't teach that. I'm trying to break that generational curse. So I don't
Yeah.
need to show you a fake lifestyle. I'm not chasing after that. That's why
Mm-mm.
my teachings are, it has God in it, baby.
That's right.
Coming from Proverbs.
That's right.
And I'm gonna tell you how to manage your money coming from Proverbs. We're gonna go
Yeah.
right to the Bible
Come
and we're
on.
gonna learn. Because even in budgeting, when I teach budgeting, my budgeting includes 10% as your fixed variable.
Okay.
I teach
That's
people
not an option.
your 10%. God is not an option. That's the first thing that comes out your money. Then you pay your rent. Now,
Yeah.
granted, situations, like you said, there are situations where some
Mm-hmm.
people can just not do it. And I understand that. So I teach those people, give back some way. Use
Yeah.
10% of your time to give back to God's kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's you talking to somebody, using that time to talk to somebody, encourage somebody, motivate somebody, or whether you use that time and go in your room for 2 hours, praise God, worship God, read your Bible, give back to Him some way, somehow, whether it's with
Mm.
your time,
Girl,
with your money, or it's with your gift. But one thing I'm going to teach you to do is give back to God.
have
Point blank,
mercy.
period. It's not
Yes.
a question asked. We put that in my teaching.
And I love that space of being realistic. You
Yeah.
know, you might not have the 10% financially. And again, that's something that my pastor always talks about. Like people are givers, and everybody can't give in the
Mm-hmm.
same way or even to the same capacity. Don't get caught up in the fact that you can't give the money, because money ain't is it isn't everything. And if
Yes.
you can give of yourself,
Yes.
give of
Those are hard.
yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, surrender yourself. Yeah, that is a truth, that a lot of people don't hear. That definitely is a truth and a reality that comes along with giving. It doesn't always have to
It
be
doesn't have to be
your
much.
money.
Just
Yeah.
give back.
But if
Just
you
put
got
that
it,
time.
let,
If you
let me put this
give,
out there now. You got it, give.
you
We
got it.
talking to the ones that don't have it. If you don't have it, then give of yourself.
Exactly. Whether it's you cleaning the church, whether let me tell you, if we
Yeah,
you want me,
itemize that.
do you want me to be real with you? Can I be
Please.
real with you? And I hope nobody take this the wrong way, but I'm gonna be so real and honest. If you get food stamps,
Uh-huh.
and if I don't care if you get $200 in food stamps, Go use that $20 and go buy some snacks for the youth department. That's you
Mm.
giving back 10%. Go use that $20 and go buy something and give it to your coworker and say, "May God bless you." That's you giving back. You could give back in various ways. It doesn't, like you said, it doesn't just have to be financial, but there's opportunity and room to show God that, God, I just want to give you my praise. I just want to let you know that you are still in control over my life. And if
Mm.
I'm just giving you 2 hours of my day to show you that I want to give this to you as my 10%, because this is all that I have right now, I am willing to sit still for 2 hours just to
Mm.
be in your presence because you know my heart. Now, if you have it and you don't want to give back to the church that you go to 4 to 5 times out of the month to sit in a chair under
Mm.
AC and listen to the pastor use the mic that use electricity and under the nice little light that you get to open and have your Bible so you could see the words, and then you want to walk on the floor that needs supplies to clean it,
Mm. Roll call.
they have to pay bills.
Yeah.
They have to pay, whether it's the mortgage on the building or whether they lease it or rent it. They have to pay that. They have to pay the light. They have to pay the water. They have to
Yeah.
pay somebody to clean it if no one is volunteering.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot to run the church,
Yeah.
but the church is God's bride. The
Mm.
church is where you come to worship. So if you want to come into a building that's clean, a building that has all the things that you need to praise God, if you don't want God to come into a dirty space, a dirty house, a dirty room,
Mm.
you give you 10%.
Mm.
Simple as that. That's what it goes towards. In case people didn't know, because some people don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think that I'm just
Go
giving my
straight to the pastor.
and it goes straight to the pastor. Now,
And
granted, there are
listen,
people who take
li- li-
advantage of that. There are people who take advantage of
listen.
that.
I
I'm
was
not
going
saying
there.
the
Go
world
ahead.
is perfect, but I'm
Right.
talking about the people who goes to a good church, who's under the leadership of a good pastor or apostle or bishop, who goes there to be fed,
Mm-hmm.
who sees their leaders going above and beyond for them. I'm talking about those people. I'm telling them, give back. Give
Yeah.
back your 10%.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
talked about enough. It's too much stereotypical things that goes around that. And I read my Bible and I understand the word of God and I don't play with the words because those are
Mm-mm.
his words and it is
Right.
written.
Right.
And we play too much with that. But yes, I just want to put that out there.
Mm-hmm. Listen. Listen. But we miss our 5 minute mark. We are definitely at our time, but that's the beauty of using my gift because this is
Yes.
my platform, right? So
Yes.
I get to decide. I get to decide whether it's okay, whether we go over or not. And I am absolutely positive that whether someone is on now listening or whether somebody comes back and listen to the replay, they are going to hear something that has touched them at their core. A reality, hearing two young Black women be
Yeah.
able to have a conversation about money
Mm-hmm.
and the ability to honor Christ as we speak and to let them know that he has a place in their money, that
Yes.
without him
It
that
won't be.
they would not even be able to obtain that money. Because and somebody might say, yeah, I don't need God to go to work. Well, if you don't need God to go to work, then what about the morning you waking up and breathing the breath? See, if you don't wake up in the morning and breathe the breath, then you can't go to work.
Preach.
He's connected to everything. So you need him.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that is all and all.
That is all of it. That's
Point blank, period. Like here, here we trust God with everything,
yes, with everything.
everything that everything that He lays to our hand, that He places on our minds, that He places on our hearts. We trust Him and we follow His leading, right?
Yeah.
And so I wasn't led. to stop her in speaking. And so, therefore, I didn't. I made an executive decision not to. And to God be the glory. In
Amen.
Jesus' name.
I
So,
love that.
as we are going to wrap up our podcast, are there anything, or is there anything that any final words, any final thoughts that you would like to share with our audience?
I would like to say first thing is keep God first, never second, and everything will be great. The second thing I would like to say is if you're able to go on my website at sefirstfinancial.com, and I have blogs on there, financial tips, I have videos you can watch. Everything that I do is free. Everything that I do is free. I don't charge for anything. I'm just on a mission to share knowledge and to build our people up. If you are in my location, Savannah, Georgia, or Chatham County, and you just want me to come out and speak to your nonprofit or at your school system, anything that you need, everything that I do is free because I'm just here to empower. So that is my website. My social medias will be posted as well. You can follow me on social media. I give lots of financial knowledge and tips. And even so, I go deeper than 101. But that's it. It was great being here. I hope
Awesome,
to be back
awesome.
soon.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I'm going to leave that up on the screen for a little while just to give people an opportunity to jot down your information so that if they want to get back in touch with you, they are able to.
Yeah.
Because all organizations, I firmly believe, can use the resources that you offer. And as you stated, your information, the tools that you do use, they come from the Bible.
Yes.
And so that's very important because there are a lot of organizations that want the people that they deal with to understand finances and how it impacts their life, and also how it does connect to their faith or their
Yeah.
belief. And so often it's not offered. And so I definitely know that you are a true jewel. And I want to pause and give a moment and a major shout out to Bernice Lohman from Lohman's Creative. Bernice made this connection.
Yes, she
I believe it was I can't remember exactly what month it was, but
we
she
were
held, I'm sorry.
June.
Okay,
Yes.
so back in June, she held an event, and she invited Christian business owners to
Yeah.
come into a space and to speak and to just get to know one another. And so I greatly appreciate her for creating that space, because had she not created that space, this connection wouldn't have ever happened. And the opportunity for me to get to meet someone who has a story that's very similar to mine, but not only that, but someone that believes in the same God, that worships the same God that I worship, that is in alignment with what I stand for. It's priceless when you can meet other young people that are on a mission for Christ and
Oh,
has that same model: for Christ
yes.
I live and for Christ I die. It's priceless. And
Yeah.
so again, I want to give a major shout out to Bernice Lohman from Lohman's Creative. All your needs, check her out. That I'm not sure when the next Christian business owners connection is going to happen, but follow her on social media. And if you see it, come into the room, because you have no idea the people that you will meet by just coming in the room. And she's not doing anything to make the connections happen beyond creating the space. She
Yeah.
encourages you to connect with other people, but she does not mandate you to come into the space, one, or even communicate with other people. She encourages it. And so, major shout out to Bernice Lohman for creating that space and giving us the opportunity to meet. I want to thank you for joining us tonight, right? It's
Thank
been
you.
awesome. This has been an amazing opportunity and experience to just be with you and talk about money mattering. all the money matters in Christ. I thank God for you. I thank God for the work that you are doing. May God continue to richly bless you um, in abundance. May everything that's attached to you continue to win. And that's my prayer for you.
Amen. And I received that.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So I'll see you in a few. Everybody, what an amazing opportunity it was to just interview her and to hear her heart. I hope that this podcast gives you some information, some encouragement, some direction and wisdom as to what you the things that you should be doing with your money, the things that you can do with your money. If you don't already have a budget, put one in place. You know, budgeting helps us. So I encourage you to just put a budget in place, start off small, and as you start off small, it might become an opportunity or a challenge for you to challenge you to do better for you and everything that you want. I just encourage you to be the best you that you could be. I thank you for joining me here tonight on The Light, Lupus and I, where I am your host, Salathiel Deloach. Be blessed.